So let me introduce you to High-Level Reporting Engine. This is a program we developed for generating individual and group reports on Go High Level. So it pulls the data directly from Go High Level, allowing you to generate a variety of reports. So I'm going to sign in. I'm going to go find the account I'm interested in. I'm going to load up the account. And you'll notice that I have three major fields: single contact reporting, multiple contact reporting, and admin page. The admin page only appears on admin accounts. So if you've got an agency and you're pulling this up on the agency location, then you'll see the admin page. Otherwise, you won't see it. You'll simply see single and multiple contact reporting. Um, for those that are running an agency that have the agency version, um, you'll be able to then issue to as many of your locations as you want, and you can charge as you feel appropriate. Um, it, it's really simple. You simply go in, pick the location ID that you want to authorize, put in the friendly name, location ID, and simply hit add. Um, and then to do a single contact report, simply click on single contact, enter your search term, go find the contact you're interested in, pull the contact, and now we're going to go and create a report. So we start with fields, and so I'm going to open up fields. You'll see I have disabled and enabled fields. To enable a field, I simply click on this double arrow set. That'll move it up into enabled fields. I can add email as an example. Maybe I want to add the company. I may want to add, I don't know, maybe their do not disturb status, so I know what that is. Um, and any other thing I might want to add, website, etc. And possibly, let's say I can sort their tags, and I'm going to look at their lead score. Okay, now once I have that, what I can then do is I can, on the lead scored field, I can go in, click on this pancake style menu, add the lead rules for the lead score. Literally, I can pick any field in this that's in the database and apply some type of scoring value to it. So, for example, if I want to score, um, let's say, for example, are you handling negative reviews? And maybe the criteria. If they say something like no, we're not, then if it contains the word no, then that's going to score a 10, for example. And if I go and pull another field, and let's say that I'm going to score on um, do you split test, and if they say you know it contains yes, then maybe that scores a um, 5. I don't know. Now you can create as many fields as or use as many fields as you want. Obviously, you have all these different criteria from which to select from in terms of the field, and then the weighting can be any number, both positive and negative, and including decimals. So it could be 1.3, it could be -1, entirely up to you. Now, in addition to this, not only can you have this lead score, which is the field that's in the system, but you can add your own score. So I can add a score. Let's call this, maybe onboarding score. Add that, and then for the onboarding score, create my own set of scores for the onboarding score. So maybe that's a completely different set of scores. Maybe it might be something to do with I want to make sure that for example, that the record is complete. So I want to make sure that sorry, I want to make sure that they have an email. So the criteria is, um, and um, you know, I should say um, exists. Okay. And then I may want to add another score to that, and maybe I want to make sure that the name field exists. I get myself out of the way. Make sure that the name field exists. Get this up. One of the things you can do so that you're not bouncing around like I am there is you can double click on it. Um, sorry, double click there, and it pops up into the center where I can then add additional criteria. So I can add, for example, does the name exist? Um, and then for each one of these, apply a weight. If the name field exists, that's, um, let's say, how do I want to do this? Let's say if the email exists, that's a 1. If the name exists, that's a 1. If the company name field, maybe I do that opposite. Maybe if the company name doesn't exist, that's a -1. Whatever. I mean, this does not make a lot of sense, but you can get the idea that you basically can go in and you can use any number of fields and create your own scoring system to basically create those scores. And you can create multiple scoring fields within a single report, depending on what your objectives are. So really powerful. And once you've completed that, what you can then do is go up to the schema and you can actually save it as a named schema. Now you'll see I've already created one called prospect score. I'm going to load that up, and so there's prospect score. So it's got a score of 10. Is it worth an hour of your time? Yes. Are you responding to your reviews? Yes. How often do you email your list? And so a score value was placed on each one of these that ended up generating a total of 10. And so then I can essentially go through each person's report to determine whether or not it's somebody I want to somebody I want to try to onboard. Um, Now, in addition, I have the ability to format. So you can format the space between the sections, the name font size, the header font size, and the info font size. So it basically just gives you a little bit of capability in terms of being able to tweak the information that's on the page, giving yourself a little bit more room to be able to position the data depending on what you're bringing up. You have the ability to download it as a PDF. You have the ability to download it as a comma delimited file in case you want to do further analytics. You can jump page by page or to the end or to the beginning if you're dealing with a bunch of pages. And then this basically gives you the ability to pop it up full screen. And that's single contact reporting. Now, if we go back home and we go to multiple contact reporting, here it gets a little bit more interesting because here you've got not only the ability to do a query through your search term, but you can also search by field. And so I can go in here and I can say, I'm looking for those records that have tags, and that those tags, is either is not, contains, doesn't contain, greater than, less than, exists, doesn't exist. So for example, I could say, tag contains real estate, for example. And it'll go out and it'll look for fields that or tags that contain the term real estate. Again, I need to load up, the or enable the fields that I want to be able to see. So I'm going to add a name so we can at least see the names when they come up. Now, this database that it's querying has got about 50,000 records, so it's pretty big. So it's going to take a few minutes to go out and find all those real estate records, but it will pull the real estate. So we'll give that a minute to spin that up, and in just a moment it will bring up those records. And there we go. Okay, um, so it's actually found 2 pages. It looks like most of them don't have name fields. Yeah. So we've got. So let's add some additional records or fields so we can kind of see what we do have, what we don't have. So let's add email. Let's add phone number, and um, let's add the tags so we can see what tags we've got. So there we go. So we've got a bunch of real estate records. Once you've gotten the field set up the way you want, you've got the lead scoring set up the way you want, you can save it as a schema and then come back and load your schema. So if I want to load, for example, the prospect score and load that, what it will then do is it'll go out and it'll generate that report with the the records that I've loaded so far. So I've got these records based on real estate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change this a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to query and I'm going to do the search term, which is basically everything. And it's going to go pull. And then, of course, I'm going to change the number of records. So I'm going to pull 500 records. Now, I will mention this limit is arbitrary. So if you find that you're typically working with larger lists, we can increase that limit. I just need to know. Um, typically what we try to do is, work this so we're, for example, working from a field and we're, um, using tags to be able to work with a smaller subset of the data or using some other field to be able to work with a subset of the data. You can sort if you want by prospect score. You can sort by name, so it's a sort by ascending or descending, where once you've set everything up that you'll be able to store that entire record as a view, so that you're not having to go in and create your load your schema and then go in and load your search parameters. But that's later. So there you have it. Hope you like it. And if you've got some questions, feel free to shoot me a note. And otherwise, have fun with it. Let me know how things work out.